A lot of times people complicate the manifestation of their desires, and there's several different ways that a lot of people go about doing this. A lot of the times they will outline the way that they want their desire to manifest, but what we're going to talk about today is letting your desire go, or even better yet, forgetting your desire. And I'm going to tell you how you can, the easy way to let yourself forget your desire. You're saying, well, why would I want to forget my desire? You know, then it wouldn't be much of a desire anymore. I don't want to give up what I desire because I think that it would, make my life better and make me feel better, make me feel good if that desire manifested. And if I forget it, then I'm not going to have that to make me feel better. And the fact is that usually when people's manifestations become a reality, which that's a little redundant, but when your desires usually become a reality, they usually come about in a very normal type way, where you don't really realize it, when it's not really such a big deal anymore. And so what we want to do is let's just say that you have a desire for a certain type of partner. What you would want to do is it's okay to have those desires. Put those desires out there. Have strong feelings for it. And that's what's going to charge it, is when you have those strong feelings for it. But it's never going to come into manifestation until you let go of it. How could it? How could something manifest if you're still wanting it? That implies that you don't have what you desire, if you desire it. So as soon as you let it go, the universe takes that as you have it, because you're not desiring it anymore. And so one of the easiest ways to forget a desire, not just let it go and then think about it later. It's not like, you're just like, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there and let it go to the universe, and then you think about it some. You need to forget about the desire. Okay? And one of the easiest ways to forget about the desire is to form a new desire. You could call it the law of substitution. Substitute it for a new desire that you feel very passionate about. Something that makes you forget about the other one. And when you forget about it, you will allow it to come in. And you may not even realize when it manifests that it was something that you desired. And you might be 2, 3, 10 years down the road and realize that years ago this was something that you desired. Remember that everything always comes around in perfect timing. There is no such thing as not a perfect time for a manifestation. The universe always brings it to you at the exact right moment. After you let it go, that is. After you forget about it. And I have found that one of the best ways to forget about a desire is to substitute it with a new desire. So maybe a way to help you keep track of it is that you could write down your desires, have a notebook, write each desire on a separate page so that when you flip through it, you're not reminded about ones that haven't manifested yet, but you know, write them down on a separate page, and then maybe once a year, at the end of the year, go through it and see the different things that have manifested throughout that year. And for some people, a year might not be long enough, and I know that a year sounds like a long time, but you know, every year when the holidays come around, everybody's like, oh, I can't believe it's Christmas again. You know, a year goes by faster than what you usually think. So go through it once a year and see what has manifested. Substitute your desires with new ones after you've had a strong desire for it. And I know that that sounds hard for a lot of people to let go of their desires, but it's not doing you any good to hang on to it. As long as you're hanging on to a desire, you are implying that you do not have that desire, and it will never manifest as long as you're still wanting it. This is why, you know, sometimes things will come along after you learn about the law of attraction, and you know, maybe you get, I know for myself, I used to get like these tickets to these basketball games, and I could care less about basketball or really many sports at all, except for maybe SEC college football sometimes. But it's just like, when did I put out the desire to get these? You know, and a lot of times that's how things come about, is that you just have the slightest desire for something, and because you don't really care about it, because you're indifferent to it, indifferent. You could care whether or not it comes into manifestation. It comes about because you're not sitting there still wanting it. So remember this. It's very important that you let go, forget about your desires. Now, I will probably talk again about this at a later date, and maybe add in a couple of other things that are some techniques that you can do to help you forget about desires. But for right now, this is one of the fastest, easiest ways to do it. Substitute your desires for other things. And, you know, remember, also, if you know anything about Buddhism, it's strongly taught in Buddhism to not be attached to things. Practice on not being attached to things, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to let go of them. And practice with small things. Practice with things that you maybe don't have much desire for at all. And then write them down. Always keep a log of things. Just don't check it too often. But write them down so that you can remember. It'll jog your memory. There's been so many things that I've seen come about in my life, and when I think deeply about it, I'm like, oh my God, I totally was putting that desire out like 5 years ago. That was something that I felt passionate about years ago. And then it comes around. And you may think, well, you must not be a good manifester if it didn't happen right away. And just remember, everything always comes in perfect timing.